Hello everyone and welcome back to the 7th episode of the S&P Saga, your weekly analysis of the S&P 500 index. Big news: after reporting another quarter of profits, Uber finally makes it into the S&P 500.
We don't know for sure, but there's been speculation for months, and today could be the day because, as you said, at the market close today, that is when the S&P does its rebalancing. And of all the candidates, Uber is the largest by market cap. It's at almost $120 billion now. First, let's talk about how it got here. Uber had to become profitable, and I'm not talking on a unit economic basis or on an adjusted EBITDA basis. I'm talking GAAP net income. Uber has shown that its GAAP income profitability is actually sustainable. You have to show 4 quarters of that to be considered for inclusion. Let's
dive right into it. For the week ending on December 1st, 2023, the S&P 500 closed the week at 4,594.63 cents, up 0.8% from last week. The PE ratio, based on current price and the latest earnings, stands at 25.38, up 0.19 points since last week. Going to the gainers, Salesforce is up $34.6 billion or 15.9%. We talked about this one last week. The company reported better than expected profits on its Q3 earnings report. Apple is up $19.8 billion or 0.7% on no particular news. Johnson & Johnson up $14.2 billion or 3.9% ahead of Analyst Day on December 5th. Schwab Corporation is up $12.3 billion or 11.9% on no particular news. Tesla is up $10.7 billion or 1.4% after starting deliveries of its new Cybertruck model. On to the losers now. Alphabet is down $75.4 billion or 4.3% on bad news on the antitrust side during the week, plus the deal announced with the Government of Canada for online news. Meta, formerly known as Facebook, is down $34.5 billion or 4% following revelations arising from lawsuits filed from the Attorneys General of 33 states in the United States. Nvidia is down $25 billion or 2.1% on no particular news. Microsoft is down $21.7 billion or 0.8% on no particular news. Broadcom is down $20.2 billion or 5% after announcing that it will cut 1,800 jobs following its VMware takeover. There were changes to the index announced this week. 3 companies will be added and 3 companies will be deleted from the S&P 500 index. In terms of deletion, Sealed Air is moving down to the S&P Small Cap 600. Alaska Air Group is moving down to the S&P Small Cap 600. SolarEdge is moving down to the S&P Small Cap 600 as well. Replacing them, in the additions, Uber Technologies is finally being included after being profitable over the last 4 quarters, replacing Sealed Air. Jabil moving up from the S&P Midcap 400, replacing Alaska Air Group. Builders FirstSource moving up from the S&P Midcap 400, replacing SolarEdge. So how to use the information that we just covered? So let's start again by performing a deep dive into the performance of the losers. This week, I believe that Google and Broadcom have the most interesting prospects if their fundamentals are still sound. Also, 7 companies will release earnings during the week ending December 8, 2023. And the most interesting will be Dollar General, announcing December 7th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, expected to report $1.19 of earnings per share on $9.6 billion in revenue for their Q3 2023 profit. Broadcom, on December 7th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, expected to report $10.96 of EPS on $9.3 billion in revenue for their Q3 results. I will leave the links to the earnings calls below. To catch up on what we predicted for Salesforce, you should watch this video next.